Well, good evening, people. Good evening. My name's Brooke Bond, and it's very nice to see you. Not been on for a week or two. Why? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. I was banned. Freedom of speech, darlings. Freedom of speech. I look like a bit like Ronnie Corbett. Yeah, just maybe a Lyland Scott top. What do you reckon? Lyland Scott? I sit in an armchair with the old big bat wings and tell some stories and some yarns. I could be the new Ronnie Corbett. I'm just a little bit taller than him, though. And yeah, a bit more flavoursome, maybe. So nice to see you. Merry Christmas all to you. Lovely to see you. Thanks for tuning in as always. There's been a few people, ladies and gentlemen. There's been a few people. They've been saying, I did sound like Ronnie Corbett then, didn't I? There's been a few people lately saying, Dave, we listened to you, blah, 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 blah. And you keep telling us that you're a walking miracle. And these things I have to admit to, ladies and gentlemen. And it is what it is. And they said, you've never worn a mask and you've never sanitized your bum hole and done all these other things that we're all doing. And why is that? The simple fact of it is, and I've got to be honest with you, right? I quite enjoy life. I think life is a fabulous gift, and I think it's worth living. So I've never really done the fear. Now, what I would like to say, look at the state of me, like I'm all over the place. I'm not as polished as Alex Belfield, am I? I mean, he's got a gorgeous ginger top, and what a beautiful, beautiful man, doing fabulous work as well. Our Alex Belfield there, BBC ex-presenter, I do believe Alex was. And yeah, he's a good lad. He's got a fabulous channel, gets far more views than me, but that's not a problem. Patsy Ballantyne, hello, darling. I see I'm just a man. Ooh, I say, very saucy. So, why have I never bothered? Well, I've not seen. Now, we all tend to get our evening, our information. We normally get our information from the TV and the radio and the newspapers and all these dirty tabloids and stuff. Melinda, hello, darling. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, I'm telling you. Hopefully, if the weather's a little bit brighter tomorrow, I might do you a live stream from my Velomobile. But we're going to have to see what the weather's like because it is proper nasty down here. Pot's boiling, Dave. Yes, it is, Patsy. I love my grub. I'm always cooking. I'm a bit like Gordon Ramsay and Gino De Campo in the kitchen. This is true. My missus just tucks her bim of a night, and I do serve her up a silver platter, and she loves it. She devours it, let me tell you. And I'm hoping to be devoured myself later. So yes, lovely. So look, I'm not interested in what Boris has got to say. I'm not interested what the TV, the radios, all these other things have got to say. I'm not. What I will do, and this is where I've come from, is I live in a village right now. I don't know how I've ever got here. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. It's very darling buds of May where we live. It's very Larkin. But if it's a beautiful series we've just seen there with Bradley Walsh in the New Larkins, I quite enjoyed that. And Charlie got Marianne in the end, which is beautiful. We always knew that was going to happen, wasn't it? So I figured rather than listen to all the fear porn, all the fear that comes out through the BBC and the ITV and all that mainstream, lamestream trivia, and I'm very grateful for TikTok and Twitter and all these other outlets, Instagram. Where people are like, okay, cool. So the mainstream's saying this, but we're seeing something different over here. And let me tell you, that is beautiful. Now, yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, I was in Lounge Square in London in my friend said it was a flat. Well, this flat I was at yesterday, and I don't get excited by people with money or anything like that, but this place was worth 15 million quid. And the American lady that was there, beautiful, beautiful woman. We're sorting all the bits and bobs out in this flat, playing with the dogs. And we start talking about stuff. And we got onto the subject of the V. And she said, excuse me, Dave. Goddamn, Dave. She said, excuse me, Dave. I said, what's the matter? She went, it's a jab, not a V. I was like, oh, yeah. I said, do you not have none of this then? She went, no, not coming near me, none of that stuff. I was like, why not? She went, well, I don't want to be seen as a conspiracy theorist. And I'm just chuckling on the inside. I'm like, wow, this is cool, man. Because, you know, a lot of the time it's best to listen as opposed to keep chatting around. And so she just confirmed some greatness for me, that not everyone's swallowing this bullshit. And is it bullshit? Is there stuff going on out there? Is there people getting ill? Yeah, definitely. But what is it? This is the big question. We've labelled all these things over the years, haven't we? And we love a label. And it's quite sad. So the point of this is, I said, right, I'm not going to listen to any of the news, the outlets, the newspapers, the radios. I'm certainly not going to be bothering with none of that. I'm going to use my own eyes, and I'm going to observe what's going on locally to me, right? A bit like local weather reports and stuff like that. So I sat like a rabbit in the headlights, and I'm looking around, right? I'm looking around. And no one is throwing out dead bodies. No one is wailing at the top of their voice. That's just no one. And out of 6,000 people, we've allegedly lost one elderly gentleman that actually fell off a Dover cliff and was being licked up by the seagulls. But he was actually put down on his death certificate as a related incident as to this current thing, what they're labelling everyone with at the moment, the old vid-19. But be careful with my words, because they censor me, this YouTube channel. They do. They love a little bit of censorship, darling. They really do. I always thought I lived in a free country where free speech and freedom of expression. And what I see with all this silencing, and no, we're going to regulate this, we're going to put a sanction on your channel, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, is for me, it's a modern book burning exercise. You know, back in the day, the German National Socialist Party, we was the only one that called them Nazis, by the way. The National Socialist Party, they went on a massive book burning campaign, which took place one evening, and the place was burning up like a little ghetto. And they threw all the books away. They threw Freud away, which was a bad thing. They threw all these, you know, we're not interested in that no more. You're going to live by this dictate. And the Führer says you're going to do this, and you're going to read this, and you're going to do that. And that's censorship. I don't care whether your freedom of speech upsets someone, whether then they go on to lick their wounds. Do you know, most people, when they hear something, whatever it is, they can get a little bit excited to start off with, right? They can get a little bit excited, but then they may go away and attempt to lick their wounds. And whilst they're licking their wounds and they've calmed down and they've come off the ceiling, they might actually think, well, yeah, maybe, just maybe. So the whole purpose of this time period for me was I observed locally. Now, I mean, I could be talking out my box. I could be, you know, my village might have a bubble over it. It might have a bubble like the Homer Simpson thing, you know, where you knock a baseball through it. It might be the fact that, but no one, I do know for a fact that Kent years ago was where lots of people came to get over tuberculosis. They used to put them into satellite places, like, you know, very remote. And many a time they used to leave them outside in the cold all day, and people thought it was wicked, but actually it was doing them really, really good, because bugs don't like cold, right? So maybe that, but and that's the point. I've not dug into the media. I've not sat there and listened and gone, oh my God, Boris has said this, or the newspapers have said this, there's a new variant, an Omicron, or this or that. I'm just like, look, I'm just gonna, it's just boiling away, mate. It's just boiling. It's a boil in the bag. It's the boil in the bag. Do you think the jab passports will? Do you know, Melinda? I couldn't care less, right? Because look, here's the thing. I know that it's a devilish system that we're in right now, right? And it's all about contracts, and they need your consent. So if I have to have a pass to go into a restaurant, I'll get a picnic. If I have to get a piece of paper to travel abroad and go and get my tits out in Benidorm, I'll stay at home. I'll get my tits out in my own garden in the summer, all right, and put some coconut oil on them. All these things that they're offering up There's always a remedy around it. Do you know what I mean? You're not allowed to come in and shop at this store. Well, then people need to get together locally and sort that out, you know, and start growing their own food. And maybe people grow this, and some people keep chickens or fish. I know there's a lot of people out there vegetarian or that. They frown upon all the meat eating, but that's your bag. And then you start sharing it about locally. Then you're not dependent on the system, and you can give the system to them. And you're not really interested in what they're doing and what's going on. That's the power. But if you're taking all these things right now so that you can go on holiday, so that you can go shopping, the big question I have with all of that is what's next? Once you keep having all these things every 3 months, what next? What is it that Boris and all them idiots have got in line for you next after this? You know, are we going to be turning into robots? Have you got to have a dildo slapped in your bum? What moronic Omicron, an anagram for moronic? What other stuff are they going to move into? Because we know that they don't never ever give back what you've had before. And I hope that you're all starting to realise now that the old world that you knew, that you all thought that you was going to go through a time period to do this and do that you'd go back to eventually. It's never happening. It's never happening. So I've never ever considered myself to be in any form of lockdown. I've never ever considered myself to be in any form of tyranny. Now, I know that the police are working hand in hand with government, but God will judge them one day, and I think the people of this country will judge them one day. And I think that those that seem to think they own the streets will be sweeping the streets. I really, really do. Or a curry. I can't reveal what we've got for dinner tonight, but we've got lovely. Must be a stew. Hello, Zevi Zircon. Hello, Dale. Nice to see you. Ian Sermon read that article about him because we've got this little kiddie Arthur that's been fouled not only by his parents, but by us as a people generally. And look, this Arthur, bless his little heart, he's not an isolated thing. There's kids being abused all the time, guys and girls, let me tell you. And really and truthfully, what are social services interested in? When social services go in and evaluate a child, that there's this and that going on with, what's the main focus for these people? And I'll tell you what it is their point of duty and their care, is that their first port of call? Is that their first thing that they should do, is care? No, I don't think it is. I think when social services go in, they evaluate to see how much money that child can potentially provide for their system. And I think that's really sick. I really do. Do you think Hitler lost the war? No, I don't. I think that's a story for another day. You know, the Hitler story. It is what it is. But we learn from history. You know, most people, when I tell them, I say, did Hitler invade Austria? And they say, yeah. I say, they never. What do you mean they never? The Germans occupied Austria. I said, yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. But they had a democratic vote and voted this National Socialist Party into power, and then very much regretted it later on. Now, we had a chemist. There was an Austrian chemist that has got a heavily pregnant wife, or should I say had a heavily pregnant wife. Now, he came out a couple of weeks ago and was doing a live stream on BitChute or YouTube. I'm not too sure it was. But he was giving out information that graphene oxide, which is now in tap water, and the things that they're putting into people's bodies from the doctor's surgeries, the graphene oxide is acting, these little metal particles, is acting like mini nanoparticle razor blades. And it's what's cutting up everyone's blood, plasma, and people are bleeding internally. We know we've got lots of people dropping dead. We've got lots of sports people just dropping dead and clutching their chests on pitches while they're playing football, while everyone turns a blind eye and says, no. And I've said before, why did they stop giving the thalidomide jab years ago? I think it was to stop morning sickness with many women. They stopped because they questioned the science. Why did they stop DT powder in kids when they had nits and fleas, because that was all the rage. You know, we used to have the nit nurse come in with that comb and comb you through. The boys got nits, and I never had the powder. It was out. It wasn't on the agenda when I was a child. I don't know how many years I missed that by. But they stopped doing the DD powder. Why? Because kids was having side effects and they questioned the science, and people questioned science. So whenever we get a situation in history where the government are force feeding us like frogwa, you know, frogwa is a duck that's being force fed all the time to get it really fat, and then they slice its neck and then it ends up on a plate. They force feed this poor little thing 24 hours a day to fatten it right up, this frogwa, and that's what we're being fed by the government. Oh, no, it's safe. Well, who's assuming liability that it's safe? Who's prepared to stand up and go, if it don't go according to plan and we harm you, I'm going to be responsible and you can sue me? No, not on the card. So, of course, this blasé attitude of, don't worry, just dole it out to the peasants. They can't prosecute us anyway. This is a very dangerous mindset. Very, very dangerous indeed. So I want you to think about them kind of things, okay? I think they've a lot of robots to sort us out. Yes, Ian Sermon, maybe. Who knows? Craigie Baxter, God bless you, my friend. Nice to see you. Operation Paperclip, yeah, we know all about Operation Paperclip. Paulie Tiddywells, no, lovely name there, isn't it? Paulie Tiddywells, I'm loving that. Sandy UK, evening peeps. Are we all still saying, listen, sanity is one thing I've been blessed with. You know, I deprogrammed many years ago, and I stopped being programmed because we're all, you know, from kids who watch that telly and we get so involved. We're all so easily programmed. And that's half the problem. They don't need to do too much because we're already in the system anyway. You know, mum and dad groom you, and then when you get older, your prime minister becomes your daddy, and he tells you when you can pull your pants up, and when you've got your pants down and you've done something wrong in their eyes, he's going to slap your ass and say, right, you're our property. And I detest that so much, that we have a government that thinks and looks as though it owns us, the people. The police now, when they pull you over, they do this and that. They deal with you as if you are property, as if you are owned. You're always being, we've got a job, there's a job, or we're going to process you. Sorry, I'm not property of the state, man. And I think we need to get rid of that. You know, I've seen England for many, many years become, in many, many ways, very communistic. We're all in it together. We've all got to, well, no, that's bullshit. We're not all in it together. Clearly, we're not. Their days are numbered. Kenneth, it's beautiful to see you, brother. They're abusing and misusing the mother tongue and need to wake up, repent. I agree. Repent or go to hell. Yeah, it is what it is. They've got tough times coming. I think the system is changing. I think people are changing. We're seeing all around the world. Australia, Europe is kicking off now. Ukraine. A couple of weeks ago, they give their police such a hiding and pushed them back. They took over their own town hall. They swept the doors, basically just come off the hinges, and the people took back their property. And that will come in this country. Too many people are too comfortable to be paying attention. But it was really interesting yesterday. I had this woman, you know, I'm working in this place, man, and like they give 15 million quid right in the centre of London. And I'm thinking to myself, this woman just, you know, she's going to be so into business. But when she said to me, it's a jab, it's not a V, and I'm never having it in my life. They're never coming near me with it. And I was like, wow, man. Very powerful words. Very, very, very powerful. It's beautiful that she's taken that stance, you know. I think that you should all have the right to decide what you want in and out of your body. Should you be ever forced, pinned down and held against your will and your wish? No, I don't think so. And I think if we tolerate that as a nation, then what next? What next? Once we've all been pinned down, and then what next? Where? Because this government will get off on it. It would be like a boner to these people. If Boris would ever get away with pinning everybody down in this country and making you have it. Now, listen, hospitals are inundated. I mean, I'm seeing some not scary, because the world's not a scary place to me, really. But the hospitals are inundated with people with blood problems. And you can only draw your own conclusions as to why they've all got blood problems. And like I couldn't begin to tell you the amount of people that we've lost that have died through this time period. For their bodies have just give up. They've had things put into their bodies, and their bodies have just give up. They've had heart attacks. They've had strokes. Their brains, brain bleeds. It's just absolutely shocking, and it's abhorrent. And I think we absolutely do have to question it. And I think we absolutely have to pull our politicians back into alignment and bring them back to the rule of law. Like I've said many, many times before I disappear, guys, I'll go and finish dinner off, that we now have a situation where our politicians hide behind men with machine guns, behind big steel gates. And when that is the case, we're living in a country where it's them and us, and we're all supposed to be equal before the law, and we're all supposed to be afforded equal rights, just with everything, God-given rights. And this has changed, man. This has changed. But I do think they're playing a dangerous game. I think if it tips the other way, and they're just so blatantly seen to be doing bad things, I think it's really going to go bad for them. And I hope it does, because I hope in many ways people find the courage to stand up and say, we ain't going to take it no more. I really do. Cayman, 8:30. How you doing, Smash? Been playing with a new chainsaw because of the storm. I don't think God bless you. I've got a chainsaw sharpener. I've got to sharpen my blade up, to be fair. So yeah, it is what it is, Pete. Listen, I'm going to get off. I'm going to go and finish my dinner off. Sorry about the old boiling pot in the back there, but it is what it is. Send a packet of pork scratchings to call me Dave the Pork Scratcher, oi, to care of Bojo, number 10. What happened to number 1 to 9 Downing Street? Well, as a kid, I used to be able to walk up and down Downing Street when we were free, or fairly free. Take care, peeps. We will sort this out. We will win. We have to win, because we're the light and they're the darkness. And I know that the light always wins. God bless you. Love every single one of you. Keep it real. Stay warm. Keep yourself wrapped up. And I'll see you on the other side. Take care.